Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm Padma Dorje. I'm assistant professor at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo, California, and I'll be moderating today's seminar. The topic is Buddhism and World Peace. The main presenter will be Acharya Karma Sangbo. Acharya Karma Sangbo recently completed a five-year meditation retreat. Among his various social works, Lama Karma Sangbo was the founder and treasurer of the Nepal Buddhist Federation, former advisor for the Nepal Sherpa Association, a member of the National Monastic Education Subcommittee, coordinator of a weekly peace and loving kindness program on Kantipur television, and a member secretary and vice chairman of the Lumbini Development Trust. Acharya Karma Sangbo often gives classes at schools and colleges, as well as presenting at national and international conferences. He has traveled extensively, giving classes, workshops, and programs on Buddhism and meditation. He has written numerous articles and published 3 books, including books on the generational history of the Sherpa community, an edited collection of works on suttas and shastras, and a book on Buddhist religion and education. Acharya Karma Sangbo is currently teaching meditation classes and workshops for practitioners in Nepal and around the world, as well as leading online meditation workshops in Nepali and English. The structure for today's program is as follows. Acharya Karma Sangbo will present his paper on Buddhism and world peace, after which we will hear commentary from Professor Josef Gohori, followed by any questions from the audience. So a little background about our commentators. Commentator will be Professor Josef Gohori. He is a professor and chief researcher at the Asian Research Institute for International Social Work at Shukutoku University. He is a Czech native, living and practicing in Japan and working on international joint research project on Buddhist social work since 2015. He is the chief editor of the research book series on exploring Buddhist social work, covering Thailand, Vietnam, Mongolia, Sri Lanka, Laos, and other Asian countries and regions. So with that, I'd like to respectfully invite Acharya Karma Sangbo to present his paper.
Namo Buddhaya Tashidele to everyone. And thank you, Pema Dorje. It is my big pleasure to be here today. And I'm very happy to have 2 commentators and Professor Joseph. Actually, the topic is very vast, Buddhism and world peace. And I don't have any much idea about it. So how do I present or what should I speak? Anyhow, I worked a little bit and I try to bring things in conclusion. Its main point. I'm not pretty sure that how can I present this is properly or not. And I have written here some my points, and I hope it works. And you understand that what I want to say and what paper want to say. So I'm going to read it, and if I want to, or if I feel that I need to explain furthermore about it, so I might try to explain about it. Also, the Buddhism and world peace. So we need a question. Suppose if we say that Buddhism can contribute to develop world peace, maybe as a Buddhist myself or as we are Buddhist, we can believe it. But it might not sure for other people. They might not think that, how Buddhists can be contribute, or how Buddhism can develop a world peace. So they might don't accept too. So that's why, can Buddhism contribute to a more peaceful world? So this question maybe can be raised and can be asked. So there's many people in the world today are experiencing worry and distress. It is happening in the world day by day or every day. For too many of us, life is anything but peaceful. People worry about having sufficient means to support themselves and their families in the face of economic hardship. It is happening in the world because life is becoming tough day by day, and income sources becoming less and less. Population is growing more and more. We don't have people are getting not quality full job, means especially in developed country, they don't want to do low kinds of job, whether there is a lower or higher in job itself is a lower or higher, I'm not very sure, but people think that, oh, I don't do lower job, I want to do a high class job, and high class jobs are not available everywhere, so it's becoming hardship now. So it's a hardship, social upheaval, and several climate changes. So when it happened, the climate changes is also becoming a very big issue in these days. Suppose see now in Nepal, what happened is that it is not a time of raining, but immediately it happened that few days it was such a heavy rain, and so many places due to rain, it's a biggest flood come, and everywhere became a water, and houses are destroyed, and there was so many landslides, and many houses were destroyed by landslides in this season. Actually, in this season, there has no rain. So due to climate change, it is happening now. Many also fear for their personal safety in the face of serious illness or the continual threat of violence. So it is happening because of war, and because of, see, there is a pandemic just we are facing now, is COVID-19. So these are happening in these days. These impactful personal problems and social conditions are part of what Buddhist identity as the suffering of samsara. So Buddha already mentioned that there is a suffering in the world. So samsara, when we born here, it is a suffering. And while these troubling experiences can be considered impermanent, they can also be challenging. The Buddhist response to impact of such a suffering is based on the ideals of compassion and loving kindness. So there is a suffering, but according to Buddha, so we need to develop loving kindness and compassion anyhow. So if we could develop loving kindness and compassion, so it really helpful for others, and it helpful own self as well. If I have a loving kindness and compassion, and so I don't get angry when I have if I have a loving kindness, so I will be, number one, I will be peaceful by myself, and I can contribute to develop peace in society. Or if we cannot develop a peaceful society all over the world, at least we can develop surrounding us where I am living, so that environment can be peaceful. If a small environment can be peaceful, then it can spread slowly, so everywhere. So loving kindness and any contribution towards alleviating hardship and violence and creating a more peaceful world will always begin with the virtuous quality of body, speech, and mind. All beings want happiness. No one wants unhappiness. Isn't it true? So, of course, maybe every living being, suppose if there is an ant, and if we do something violence thing in front of ant, or if we do negative activities, he or she wants to run very fast, very quickly, because it means that he or she, it doesn't want any unhappiness. It wants happiness. So that's why it is happening. I want happiness, but because of my ignorance, I don't know how to achieve it. So every living beings want happiness, but due to our ignorance, so what we do is that we want happiness, but we do such a wrong thing, then unhappiness appear in front of us, or we feel unhappiness, and we want to be happiness, and again do wrong thing and become unhappiness. So it is a going continuum. So in trying to find happiness, I do wrong thing, wrong action, and I am always making myself unhappy. So when I do it, so it will happen that want to be happy and do wrong thing, and it will I will be unhappy, and it is due to that, and my environment, our society is slowly getting unhappy, and it's unhappy means unpeace, is developing unpeace. If we knew the cause of happiness, we would be able to stop it. But all around us, we see there is no shortage of unhappiness. Industrial pollution causes dangerous and new disease, and deforestation is steadily destroying natural habitats. So people are becoming so greedy in these days. So they want to be rich, and they think only on their benefit. We don't think other thing. So that's why they are to be rich, to get money. So they are destroying all the things, natural things they are going to destroy, and even jungles, trees are cutting. So they want to make money. So it is happening in these days. There, I should say that due to selfishness, we have a strong selfishness. Is people think that if I become happy, I don't care about others. So due to that, it is happening. And these man-made problems are contributing to perhaps irreversible climate change that is threatening lives and livelihoods. So there are many creatures are living in jungle, and forests are cutting, trees are cutting, it is destroying. So they feel, the creature who lives in jungle, they feel insecure, and they are becoming unhappiness. Yeah, everywhere is becoming, it is happening now. For example, there are many frozen lakes in the Himalayas. Because of a global warming, they are now melting and causing floods. Bridges have been washed away, and forests and pastures are being destroyed. 30 years ago, the Himalayas were blanketed in the snow all year. Now we can see black mountain tops even during the winter. So actually, in many the top Himalayas or mountainside, even in summer season, if it rain in the lower area or lower part of in the Himalaya, almost 12 months it is snowing there. But unfortunately, due to climate change, what is happening now is that even in winter, so mountain we are looking black because snows are melted, and if fall snow little bit, also just for the time being, and now it's because of global warming. Slowly, it's global warming, and snows are melted, and we can see some mountains are we can see snow in the winter season as well. Then, if there is no snow in winter, then of course we can see in summer. Yeah. So also there is a violent conflict around the world that is rooted in ethnic prejudice and racial discrimination. And there is a ongoing warfare based on a religious tension. The concentration of wealth in the hands of a few and rising income inequality mean that many people live in poverty. So it is happening now almost especially in or underdeveloping country or developing country. So many population are living so poverty. So due to that, and they think that they have a kinds of jealousy with the rich people, with or anyhow they feel insecure. They feel that we are not getting anything, we are not getting enough money, we can't earn enough money. So it is happening, and due to it, it is becoming cause of unhappiness or unpeace. Suppose if I don't have money, and if I get jealous with someone, and if I fight, or if I look bad eye at him, or anyhow, such kinds of environment is developing or increasing in the world. While powerful nations continue to occupy and oppress less powerful nations for economic gain. This word is maybe sweet or not, I'm not very sure, but in reality, it is happening in these days. Yeah. So maybe a powerful nation, they heard that, oh, what he is saying, they may get angry, but I'm not pointing any powerful country, but in overall, it is happening there now, you see. There are so many ways in which we human beings engage in actions that cause unhappiness for ourselves and others. Buddha said, by birth, everyone is the same, but this is not how we usually treat each other. So why I'm talking this thing is that people think that we have a lower caste, higher caste, and untouchable. So this kind of things, especially Nepal and India, it has that. People think that if somebody touch it, and it became a bad thing. So they don't want to eat that. Some lower caste people, if touch something, they don't eat it. So due to that, also the social environment or our society is becoming unpeace, because they think that we are also human being, we are also human, how can we be untouchable? As every creature, even people think that the animal also is not untouchable. So we are human being, how we can be untouchable? But due to kinds of discrimination or kinds of just only few people's wrong ideas, it happened, and they categorize that they are untouchable, they are lower caste, and we are touchable, we are higher caste, and we don't eat when they touch. So this thing is also creating unhappiness, and unhappiness is the kinds of synonym of the unpeace. So world is getting unpeace now. But Buddha said that by birth everyone is same, and you become higher and lower is according to your knowledge, according to your education, according to your effort. By birth no one is higher and lower. By birth everyone is same. Yeah. So once we have been born, how do we come to understand life and live it well? So we have to know that now how we manage our life and how we should live in the world, how we should live in the society. So it is very important to think in this moment that if we don't think this way, and it will the discrimination and as I said, that rich countries are occupying the financial system, whatever, and poor countries are getting poor and poor, and rich people are getting rich and rich, poor people are getting more poor and poor. So the differentiation in between is big gap or long gap, is a very big gap. So at least we need to ice break of it. So then we have to think that how do we live it, how do we think our society, how do we live our life, yeah, and how do we encourage peace and happiness for ourselves and others. So this question is, I think, is very, very important in these days, that how we can live peacefully, how I can live peacefully, and how can I encourage people to live in peacefully. Otherwise, you see, due to this pandemic also, there is a many people went in depression, and they commit in suicide, and families are having tension, relatives are having tension, or such kinds of things are happening in these days. The teachings of the Buddha provide an answer to this question, giving us this precious guidance. For first, do no harm. So this is much important in our life, that we should not harm to others. So Buddha said, don't harm other, or no harm. And second, practice excellent virtue. So now we don't do excellent virtue. Excellent virtue means positive virtue, good virtue. And if we do negative virtue, so negative action collect negative virtue, and it get a problem in the society. And the third, train own mind. So what is happening in this day is that if suppose myself, I am not training own mind, and I try to train others, and people, they don't think themselves, and they want to teach other, and they think that you should behave this way, you should do this thing, you should not do this thing. So that is also creating problem. So if we teach ourselves, if we train our mind, so it won't happen. So that's why Buddha said that first teach your mind, train your mind, then others' mind will train itself. Yeah. So it means live yourself peacefully, then your environment will be peaceful. And if you think that, oh, he is making noisy, he's doing this thing, he's doing this thing, do this, do not do this thing. So if we do it continue, then definitely that unhappiness, unpeace is going on this earth. Yeah. The essential Buddhist teachings are contained in these 3 points, and they are relevant for all people, regardless of their spiritual path or religious affiliation. So that's why I used to say that Buddhism is not a religion. Buddhism is the nature, or a natural. What is truth? Buddha said there's the truth. So he always spoke truth. Suppose if I do wrong thing to others, he or she will be harmful, he or she will be unhappy, and instead of that, they will harm me as well. So if I do good things for others, then they will do good things also. So that's why we need to train on our mind, not to train others' mind. Yeah. Although adopting these principles would certainly contribute to a more peaceful world, we must accept that making real change is a slow process. But if we try to do it, then definitely it takes time, but anyhow, one day it will happen in the society, more peaceful happen in the society. Any vision for a more peaceful world must acknowledge that there is nothing simple about the widespread experience of deprivation and hardship. Nor is there anything simple about the beliefs and attitudes perpetuating the persistent cycles of resentment, hatred, and violence that propel human conflict. Because these issues are not simple, they will not immediately disappear with a simplistic solution. But as I mentioned above, things that it's not very simple, and we cannot take we cannot find solution very easily. We cannot solve the problem immediately. But anyhow, there is a saying, however far is destination, but it starts from your one step. It means that in the maybe many years ago, there is a people always walk. We don't have a car, we don't have a we did not have a plane, maybe train like now. So they said that, oh, whatever, however destination is far, but it started from one step. So it means 1,000 kilometers is far away, but when it start from one step, then you can reach your destination. So if we start to think from now, then definitely we can get solution one day. Buddha instructed us to look closely at things, to examine and reflect, to aspire to goodness, and to practice mindfulness and awareness. And this mindfulness is a very, very important. I think without mindfulness, suppose whatever things are happening, it happened due to our mentality, due to our mind. So our mind is very strong. If I think that, oh, I don't like him or her, I don't like this or I don't like that, if it comes to our mind, so then it has forcefully, I will hate other, I don't like others, and this is happening with everyone, everybody. So then if we train our mind, when if we have a mindfulness, if we practice mindfulness, then when it comes to our mind, and immediately I will understand, oh, it is happening, then I have to control by mind. So control yourself, train your mind means to understand your mind when things are happening. So if we try to practice it, then definitely I think it works in the society. And the contribution of peaceful to develop a peaceful society need to contribute by everybody, every single citizen of the world. I'm not talking with the citizen of only single country, but the single citizen of the world. Now world is becoming global village, and so we have a every single citizen have a responsibility to contribute to develop world peace society or world peace. With a strong introspection, it becomes more and more clear to us what causes harm and unhappiness, and what produces peace and happiness. Through study, reflection, and practice, by paying attention to our experience and the world around us, we will find ourselves with no choice but to recognize that our suffering is a result of our negative action of body, speech, and mind. So I think whatever happened in the society, even the unhappiness or unpeace, whatever happened is because actions are done by only three things: our body, speech, and mind. So if we could control these things, then definitely positive thing happen. When positive thing happens, so definitely world can be peaceful. We will also recognize virtuous action as the basis of for freedom and happiness. Karma is vitally linked to Buddhism's goal of reducing suffering. And the more we understand how we create karma, the greater chance we have of achieving a more peaceful experience. In Buddhism, we see the interconnectedness of everything. This is sometimes we as interdependent arising. Within this view, we recognize our dependence on each and every being and all phenomena. Buddha's teaching about karma help us understand how things work within us and also in our relationships. When I understand karma, I realize that I should not harm others in order to be happy. I must respect myself and others. and do not harm to anyone. So this is a very important in our daily life. Actually, if we think in our daily life that I should not harm to other, I should respect, mean I should take care of by myself that, or not to do wrong thing, and behave good things with others as well. So I want to develop the practice of doing good things for others, and if possible to help them alleviate their suffering. So sometimes we see that if animals are blocked in some places, then people are going there and helping them. You see how people appreciate about it. You see, in if even is small in social media also, is how they come likes, oh, you did very good job, you did good things. Still there is something positive in the world. So if we start to do good things in the society, definitely you will be praised, you will be admired, and slowly it happen, and the world will be peaceful. This sense of compassion for the suffering of others is in fact a simple idea, but the practice of compassion in this complex, interconnected experience of suffering requires us to commit to a path or of personal transformation. While spiritual accomplishment in Buddhism is a personal journey that requires study, reflection, and meditation, it is in essence is socially oriented. The central principle being that of bodhicitta, the noble heart of enlightenment, which is the aspiration and accompanying action to alleviate the suffering of others and to lead them to happiness. Through the practice of mindfulness, a deliberate attentiveness to the ways our action of body, speech, and mind affect the world around us, we can begin to understand what causes strife and what leads to harmonious interaction. Based on this knowledge and experience, we begin to grow in compassion and loving kindness. We recognize that our well-being is actually intertwined with the freedom and well-being of others. And our activity then is always arising from a wish to relieve suffering and bring harmony and peace to all situations. Through this approach, Buddhism can benefit many people and also contribute to creating a more peaceful world. So it is my belief. I'm not very sure that it can be done. So anyway, I'm very happy and thank you so much for listening to me. And
thank you, Acharya Karma Sangbo, for your insightful presentation. I'd like to invite Professor Josef Gohori to present his commentary.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be part of this online seminar. Thank you very much again for joining us today. And I'm very happy to have this opportunity. However, the question is, how can Buddhism contribute to world peace? Well, it's a very big issue, very big problem, and I'm not sure if I have any qualification to talk about this problem. However, I would like to share my brief comments on this issue. In his speech, in his paper, Acharya Karma Sangbo mentioned loving kindness and compassion, and also mindfulness is very important points we have to focus on. However, in my comment, I would like to focus on two different points. The first point is equality. I prepared. Oh, wait a minute. I just. Now it's probably okay.
Oh yeah.
We call it byodo in Japanese, and well, the equality. Acharya Karma Sangbo mentioned that all beings want happiness, and Buddhist teaching provides us with the way how to achieve it and how to see the cause of unhappiness. However, Buddhism is not limited to human beings only. I mean, Buddhism always keeps in mind the happiness of and well-being of all sentient beings. we are all the same. I mean, there is a equality for all sentient beings. In Japanese, we say ikitoshi ikeru mono. It's, well, ikitoshi ikeru mono, all sentient beings, not only humans. And actually, there is no strict vertical hierarchy, which we can see, for example, in Christianity. I mean, God as an absolute authority on the top, and the humans in the middle, and the rest of the world, I mean, animals, plants, and the others on the bottom. I mean, Buddhism is completely different. And however, at least I mean, at least us who are born in Europe, we always distinguish between human and nature, between human society and nature. Actually, following the teaching of Buddhism, there is no difference. I mean, we are all the same. Our body is made of the same carbon, the same hydrogen, the same oxygen as in animals, plants, or rocks. Inside our body, only a few % of genes are of a human origin. Our body is a mix of us and a huge number of small living beings inside our stomach, on our skin, or in our mouth, everywhere. So we are all the same living beings, and biology and other sciences, they all say the same as Lord Buddha said 2,500 years ago. Based on this teaching, we can say that life has the same value. There's no high life and there's no low life. There's only one life. Once we recognize it, it might be easier to protect life. By protecting life, we protect ourselves. On the other hand, by taking life, I mean using violence, doing war, we harm ourselves. Therefore, the equality is the way how to establish peace and harmony. The second point will be dependent arising. We call it engi in Japanese, or paratitya samuttopada in Sanskrit. All things, I mean, all dharmas, all phenomena, all principles, everything arises in dependence upon other things. It said that if this exists, that exists. I mean, if this ceases to exist, that also ceases to exist. And Acharya Karma Sangbo mentioned in his speech how we recognize how we are connected to each other. However, at many conferences I have attended in the past, many scholars in the field of social work and social welfare emphasized the importance of independence. As an individual, we should be independent. We should have our rights, our freedom. However, this philosophy, this way of thinking doesn't reflect the world around us. We are interdependent more than independent. We depend on each other. Small change somewhere affects all of us. Everything matters. I mean, everything. This teaching is, of course, being reflected in the Four Noble Truths, which are directly related to the principle of dependent origination. And this is all applied in the Noble Eightfold Path also. So Buddha's teaching shows us how to live based on the principle of dependent arising. In the last few years, there is a huge focus on SDGs, I mean Sustainable Development Goals, as proposed and advocated by the United Nations. I like these goals. I mean, it's really good thing, and we can also see how we all are interconnected, how we are interdependent all around the globe, connected with the earth and with the environment. However, from the Buddhist perspective, there is nothing new. I mean, Buddhism has been practicing SDGs for more than 2,000 years. So as Buddhists, we might say something like, oh, welcome on board. So I feel that the concept of sustainable living, of sustainable development, is a manifestation of dependent arising and of pratitya samutoppada. So we struggle because of hunger, because of war, because of disease. These three phenomena harm and destroy peace and harmony. And they have been doing it for ages. However, I think that realizing or thinking about equality and dependent arising, a thought in Buddhism, we can overcome those struggles and establish a peaceful and harmonic life. That's all from me. Thank you very much for listening.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Professor Gohori, for those feedback and comments. They're a wonderful kind of expansion of the topic and shed new light on some interesting perspectives. Thank you. Acharya Karma Sangbo, did you want to respond?
Oh, thank you, Professor. Yeah. So, Professor is not asking question. I think he just put his view. So I don't think so. I don't have to respond much. Definitely, I accept and I agree with your view. Thank you very much for your great comment. And definitely that I'm not a scholar. I'm nothing. And there is so many lackages in paper. But your comments make valuable of my paper. So I will add your comments. Thank you. And if there is any question, if want to ask any question, even Professor, you can ask question as well as other friends. If there is any question, please, you feel free to ask.
Lama, can I ask you a question?
Oh, very sure, very sure.
Thank you for your talk, Alamala. I know you've just completed 5-year retreat and now you're giving a talk on Buddhism and world peace. So I was just wondering, in this 5 years time, what is the biggest change that you have noticed since you come out of retreat? Has the world become more peaceful, or the world is more chaotic with the pandemic or with the climate change? Thank you, Lamana.
Thank you for your question, Shani. Biggest change is, of course, this pandemic, because when I went on retreat, the world was more peaceful than now. And later on, world became a very unpeace. But we have to think that two way. You know, every bad thing brings new good things too. I heard that when we were in retreat, some of our assistant, actually, he cannot talk much thing about outer things, some very important thing, except very important things. So we don't have much communication. But he said that the pandemic became so harmful in the society. Of course, all the human beings became like home arrested. So, but one thing is, it happened, good thing is that environment became very peaceful and no pollution, nothingness. The cities become very clean because there was no car and no pollution, nothing, no sound pollution. And it became so peaceful. And he said that some places, maybe some countries, I don't know exactly, and monkeys are running on the street or on the road. And the fishes or big whale fishes are coming the bank of the river, and they are playing there. It became so peaceful. So at least, of course, bad thing happened in the world, but good thing is also that at least a few months, maybe cities become so clean environment. Yeah. So this is a big change. Yes.
Thank you, Lamala.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Perhaps this is a good time to conclude the program. But I want to thank you again, Acharya Karma Sangbo, for your insightful paper, and Professor Gohori for his illuminating response. Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.